Hello, my name is Douglas Shaw from Edinburgh Bike Fitting, and this is the Moda Molto. Moda Molto is the ultimate multiple bikes in one. So right here we have a gravel bike, which is really the core purpose of the bike. So current configuration is 2x standard gravel build. So this build has got flared handlebars, which you can also spec just normal, non-flared if you want. Standard kind of cables running through the frame, so the frame's internally routed, the headset isn't internally routed. The bike, the way that it's set up, is capable of, you can ride this thing on the road, you can ride it on canal path, you can ride it on fire road, all the way up to kind of relatively aggressive gravel plus single track. So the tyre options on this bike are anything up to 50mm clearance, so that's actually very generous. The bike can also run 650B tyres if you're wanting something with a little bit more squish in the tyres, slightly more aggressive again. This bike is available in 1x, 2x. You can also spec this with, like, if you really wanted to spec it with an Ultegra 12-speed Di2 group set, you could, and ride it just as a road bike. Back to the kind of the functionality of this bike, you've got top tube bosses for bags in the top tube. You've got mudguard eyelets, so you can ride this with full mudguards, front and back. And then you've got pannier racks, so you can sort of use this bike as a light touring bike. And you also have bosses on the front of the bike as well. So really using this bike as a fully functioning road bike, fully functioning touring bike, and a fully functioning gravel bike, you can definitely do that. Coming back to the geometry of this bike, it's quite high at the front end with a sloping top tube. The other thing about this bike, coming back to the core function, would be keep in mind that it's got a relatively slack head tube. Now, there's definitely a benefit to that. So when the terrain gets a little bit more bumpy, having a longer wheelbase really just adds to that ability to be able to soak up the terrain and soak up more kind of aggressive bumps. So if you like, riding this bike is going to be very stable, and the front wheel is quite far away from the front of you. So when you're going down steeper terrain, it's not going to ever feel like you're going to be worrying about flying over the front of the bike. So definitely still is a gravel bike, and riding that gravel bike on the road, it's not going to feel the same as a road bike would, but it's still versatile enough and generous enough in its geometry that it does allow you to ride it, as I said, as a road bike. The more suitable crossover would be someone who's looking for an endurance style geometry, kind of all-round winter bike, because it is quite high on the front end, so the stack height is quite high and the reach is quite short. Riding off-road, that works because the front wheels are way out from you, but just keep in mind, if you're wanting to turn this into a road racing bike, you're probably going to struggle to get the performance that you need out of it, but there are plenty of other options out there. So core functioning gravel bike, 50mm tyre clearance, very versatile build options from 1x, 2x to full-blown road group sets. Contact points, you've got flared bar options, straight bar options, standard stem bar, very all-round, great value, do it all. This is the Molto in the Nardo grey colour. You can see, just as an example here, really, of a mechanical 105 road bike option. So you've got 36 massive squidgy road tyres on it, plenty grip, plenty of comfort, with a very kind of upright, very all year round suitable geometry. So definitely for a slower, comfortable ride in the wintertime where you're maybe not so fussed about top end average speeds, it's going to suit that riding type very well and give you everything you need from like a comfort point of view. A very sure-footed bike on slightly slippier, more treacherous road conditions. In this configuration with the 36s on it, if you're anything like me, you can still bomb it down a light gravel path even with its slick tyres, if you want to have a bit of fun. So there really is a lot you can do with this bike just in one frame, and I thoroughly recommend it. That finishes off, I guess, the review of the Moda Molto.